Hello, beautiful and beloved ones. This is Lorelei from the Tightrope to 5D Music Reactions, and welcome or welcome back. And if you wonder about that strange title, these days I'm bringing you a message about this historic shift from third dimensional consciousness to fifth dimensional consciousness for the entire planet after about every other video. And this is a message video, so I hope you'll stick around to the end. But first, we're going to take a look at Dimas Senopati, When I Was Your Man, a Bruno Mars cover. Here we go.
Same bed, but it feels just a little bit bigger now. Our song on the radio, but it does sound the same. When our friends talk about the old, it doesn't just tear me down. So my heart breaks a little when I hear your name. It all just sounds like ooh. Too dumb to realize that I should have bought you flowers and held your hand. Should have give you all my hours when I had that chance. Take it to everybody, 'cause all you wanted to do was dance. Now my baby's dancing, but she's dancing with another man.
It's a good idea to buy the one you love flowers and really think of that person and put your attention on that person. Just not take that person for granted. It's always a smart thing to do in a relationship. And he brings the feeling here, doesn't he? He's got that kind of just heartfelt kind of, it's a little bit grittiness to his voice, but it's beautiful, in that kind of gritty, beautiful way. Authentic is what I would call it. Just really authentic, the way he sings it as well as his voice. It's, it's real, and so beautiful so far. So, by the way, don't forget, friends, that I have now my member tiers, and I've been furiously putting videos in there. The bottom ones are reactions, bottom two, and the top one is 5D stuff. So check out the video on that if you have any interest. We'll go back a tad, get the build up here.
My pride, my ego, my needs, and my selfish ways. 'Cause a good, strong woman like you to walk out my life. Now I'll never gonna clean up the mess I made. Oh, and it haunts me every time I close my eyes. It all just sounds like ooh. Too dumb to realize that
we're going to go back, but I love the way he does that. Like, he's just switching between his two registers, and he's so able to do that, just back and forth, so to speak, seamlessly is what I see from him. Just beautifully done. And yes, I tell you, if you don't pay attention or to upkeep in a relationship, then this is where it goes. You sit there and you're regretting it. So, by the way, if you're enjoying this, give me a like. Give them a like later. It's always in the notes. And subscribe. Tell me too, whatever you know about this particular recording. I'd be interested to, And this gentleman who plays the piano, or he's playing a little, I guess it's one of those roll-up keyboards or something like that. My daughter has one of those. So, what about him? What do you know about him as well? He plays a pretty integral role here with this gentleman here. Let's continue.
Too young, too dumb to realize that I should have bought you flowers. all you wanted to do is there. Now my baby's dancing, but she's dancing with another man. Though it hurts, I'll be the first to say that I was wrong. Oh, I know I'm probably much too late to try and apologize for my mistake, but I just wanted to know.
Okay, I gotta go back and hear that part again, because he does so good when he just belts it. When he just, throws caution to the wind and just belts it. It's so fulfilling, isn't it? It just makes you, it fulfills you. It fulfills us when he does it. Let's go.
Dancing with another man. Though it hurts, I'll be the first to say that I was wrong. Much too late to try and apologize for my mistake, but I just wanted to know. I hope he buys you flowers, I hope he holds your hand, give you all his hours when he has the change. Take it to everybody, 'cause I remember how much you love to dance. Through all the things I should have done when I was your man. Through all the things I should have done when I was your man.
Yeah, I mean, he just brings such an honesty, a truth, a heartfelt truth to whatever he does. We're going to go back and hear that again. By the way, that little glitchy thing, I don't know what that was. I think it was their video when there was a flash of the black. So that, I don't think it was on my end. I'm going to go back a little bit here and just hear that again.
Everybody, 'cause I remember how much you love to dance. Through all the things I should have done when I was your man. Through all the things I should have done when I was your man.
Beautiful, beautiful, so heartfelt, so truly touching. It really is truly touching, the way he, that song and the way he sang it. Wow. So, he does a great job. He always just involves himself fully in the song and just brings the realness, the authenticity. So let's put it on my scale now. 1 being very third dimensional. Fear, pain, sadness, sorrow, suffering. There's a lot of suffering in this one, And 10 being very fifth dimensional. Love, peace, joy, bliss. But there's love too. And he's looking back with a regret. And that's always very third dimensional, because there really is no regret in the higher realms. You did what you did, and then the next minute you did what you did, and the next minute you did what you did, and there's never looking back and wishing you'd done it a different way. Anyway, if you're not with one particular one, there's a largesse of other wonderful ones to be with. Just to be with, not necessarily in a male-female sense, but it could be, but just to be with is wonderful. To be with all the different individuals, in the higher realms. And you always enjoy that fully, and you always enjoy being with yourself and just the divine creator, or the sparks of God, or whatever too. So I love to be by myself, by the way. I think, boy, it's a good thing I'm no longer in some, human relationship, because I just don't have the time. I have too much to do in my world to give that, what he's talking about, that attention to another person, Nope, I'm complete. I'll just, go my merry way. But, so there's a lot of pensiveness, a lot of sort of sadness, a lot of looking back, although it is love and all of that, but there's still the other in there. So it's not really pulling you real high toward the love, peace, joy, bliss arena. Now remember, I'm not talking about how well he did this. I have a lot of nerve to rate these people on how well they did it when they're 10 or 20 or 100 times better than me. I mean, I sing, but this is a whole nother level. All of these folks that I do. So that's not what I'm doing. I'm just about what we're just talking about, how much it pulls you to the higher dimension consciousness or the lower one. And I go for this one with, even though it's a beautiful, soft sound and all too, by the way, that gives you a little bit higher too, but it's still sad and pensive. So I'm going to go with like a 6.5 on this one, but it's just very beautifully done by Dimas. And also, friends, if you're interested to know a little bit about me, you can go to the About Me video here on this channel, which leads you to another longer video about what I call my forged in the fire of 3D journey in my younger life. But I learned a lot, became a life coach, learned a lot about natural healing, and some of those things that I can bring to you, you can look on the in the notes about Lorelei on Patreon to see what's up with all that stuff. And there's also a link on there if you'd like to show me a little love. And there's a buy me a coffee here if you want to do it that way. And I much appreciate those of you who do. And I want to thank those of you who have supported me in that way. So now let us get to our 5th dimensional message. What is present moment awareness as we approach 5D? So, what is that present moment awareness? Well, we all know, I think, we have a general idea, I think, of what moment awareness is usually thought of, right? It's usually thought of as in, for instance, the Buddhists or something like that would think of it as in this moment, whatever I'm doing, giving my full and total attention and a loving heart to it, and really being involved in this moment and not another moment, right? So that's a present moment awareness, of course. And that is the thing that is so, so very powerful as we approach 5D, because in each moment of now, there's usually not a lot of muck and mire happening. If you have things that happen, they happen momentarily. You spill the water, or the bill comes in that you don't know how you're going to pay it. And that happens, but then you put it on the table, and then you clean up the water, and then you go on about your day. And then you stub your toe, and that happens for a second, but then you go on about your day, right? I mean, these things that happen that bother us, or maybe it would be getting in an argument with someone. For some people back in the day, that was there for me, right? And then that happens, but then there's the whole rest of the day, So really the largesse of our time is not spent in having upsets and all of that, for the most part. Some of us have more than others. I know I used to when I was in my marriage and there was things happening there. That's a whole nother story. But then when I moved on and did a lot of growth and, work on myself and everything else, it's pretty much everything's pretty much in a calm state in my world now. It's like I just move along, and Mom does pretty well, and I think I've brought a lot of my sort of peaceful energy to her, so most of my life is spent that way. And then, so that's a sort of a present moment awareness when you're just in the moments of your life as they're coming. And it's even more enhanced when you can give to those moments, say, for instance, the love, the joy, the fun. So for instance, if you're doing the dishes, and this is like really high levels, right, of how you can bring present a moment awareness to raise your consciousness. Let's put it that way, right? And you're doing the dishes, but you're just feeling the warmth on your hands, and you're just really loving doing the dishes and cleaning them and making them nice and sparkly, and not always the way I do the dishes, by the way, but I'd like it's the way I'd like to do the dishes. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but that's the highest level. That's the highest level of that kind of present moment awareness. And that is certainly helping us to get to the higher dimensions, because we're not in a negative state. We're not in a state of upset about the past, and we're not in a state of fear about the future. And those states are killing, like murderous, to our ability to move to the higher dimensions or be in the feeling state of the higher dimensions, which is really how you get there. So let's talk a little bit about that. That's the looking back. The looking back and regret is going to bring you that feeling state we have here, or looking back in thinking to yourself that I shouldn't have done that. So it could be guilt, could be regret, could be sadness, whatever. The feeling state that comes with that is generally not a very good one. And that's generally how we look back, by the way. Most of us aren't really sitting there looking back and going, oh, look at the wonderful time I had when I went here and I went there and I went there. Sometimes we do it, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that because it puts us in a good feeling state. But mostly it's looking back with, oh, why did I do this, or why did I do that, or that was a bad thing, or this wasn't so good. And whatever it may be, where we're looking back with regret or with sadness or sorrow, like he's doing right here, right? Now, we don't really know what happened in that relationship, by the way. Could be that it wasn't all on him. Maybe this one on the other side expected too much of him in terms of him wanting to live his life. And then it was hard for him to give as much as she might have been expected. That could be possible. But then he sees it now as, oh, I should have done more. I should have done more. I should have done more. Or maybe not. Maybe he should have done more. We really don't know till we delved into that relationship. So let's take it as a given that perhaps, he didn't do enough or give enough or whatever the case may be. But now he's looking back with regret, which is compounding the problem. Because in his moments of now, he's bringing all that muck and mire from the past and plopping it right in his lap to here. Right? And now you've got a yucky feeling state, a sad feeling state, and everything else, which is not going to progress us to the higher dimensions. That's why I didn't go very high on this one, because that feeling state is really not there. So that's definitely, absolutely not where we want to be. And it's not a present moment awareness, of course. Now, if you are looking with joy about what you did in a sort of a way that could be conceived of as a present moment awareness, in the sense that in the moment you're having joy in it. So that's whether you want to call it that or whether you don't. Some people see it that way. But either way, it's okay. It doesn't harm you. It's fine. That's no problem. You wouldn't maybe want to do it all the time, but So then you have the looking forward into the future. Now, there's a couple ways, again, of looking into the future. And one of them is looking into the future. And what we do a lot, unfortunately, is with fear or concern. How am I going to pay this bill? How am I going to take care of this or that? What am I going to do if the car breaks down? How can I make sure that the kids are okay, or that mom's okay? Or how can I plan to make sure there's enough money for everything she needs? With that worry, with that concern. Again, that is really killing to getting onto the path to 5D. Because again, you're pulling an energy that, in fact, is non-existent from nowhere. You're just pulling an energy of fear and concern and worry from nowhere, out of nowhere. And since our focus on anything at all is what actually pulls that into being in our life by the law of attraction, if you're focusing on a negative future, you're literally pulling it to you. It's going to be more likely to happen that way. So that definitely, that kind of thing, it's not a present moment awareness, of course. And it's also very hard to be getting on the path if you're doing a lot of that, right? It's very hard to be getting on the path to 5D. So then you have another kind of a looking into the future. I'm going to call this like imagining, let's say imagining something wonderful, imagining how life could go really wonderfully, like kids do. This is good, actually, how kids will look in and imagine themselves to be having a good time or having fun or whatever. Maybe they're in class at the time, so the teacher doesn't like it, but but for them, it's good because it's putting them into a nice feeling state. So if we are then laying on our bed or whatever, and we've got some soft music and we're imagining our beautiful future, as I imagine being in my RV and, like getting up in the morning and just, going for a nice walk out in nature, maybe down to the lake or to the ocean or whatever I'm near at the time. This is a good thing. And many people also would consider this to be a present moment awareness. Why? Because we are literally creating, through our divine God spark, focus and energy and imagination, imagine, we are creating that thing. We are literally creating because we are creational beings. Now, we don't always realize in this life that we're creational beings, but trust me, after 20 years of personal growth, I can tell you everybody is creating. A lot of times what they don't want, unfortunately, but we are creational beings. So when you are thinking in terms of that, since you are creating it, you can think of that as really sort of present moment awareness. Again, I wouldn't do it all day, every day, right? Because you could be in the moment and just seeing what's around you and enjoying that and just shifting the very moment, like having the moment show up the way you want it to. That's very powerful. But also the looking into the future and imagining that, as they say in these videos about the law of attraction and so forth, is a good thing. And it can be seen as a present moment awareness. I would say it to you this way. If you remember the old show Bewitched, she was a witch, a good witch, and she could perform magic all the time, and she did. And the premise of the show was that she was married to a non-witch who wanted her not to do her magic and then just have a normal life. So that was where you got all the funniness coming in. But if she were to wiggle her nose, and I tried that when I was young, by the way, I can't really do it, anyway, but I figured that's why I couldn't be magical, because I couldn't wiggle my nose. But if she were to wiggle her nose, something would appear and she would be clear. This is in the present moment. I've wiggled my nose. It's appearing. I'm in the present moment. Now, it's the same for us when we are imagining and visioning. It's just that there's a little more of a lag time for that thing to show up. But we really literally are, like Bewitched, creating something. So it's much, much, much better to look into a future and create something beautiful like that than certainly to look and with worry and fear and concern, and you're actually creating that too. So that I see as more of also a present moment awareness, because you are the creator and you're creating. You see, I hope that's making sense. And that kind of thing will also pull you to the higher dimensions. So your strongest things to do when you want to get to the fifth dimension is to be in the present moment, enjoying it, loving it, having it show up how you want, bringing your beautiful, loving energy to the moment, and sometimes looking into a beautiful future that you are creating, and you are making it however you want it. And sometimes, not too often looking back, but sometimes looking back and remembering the beautiful times of the past. And that's fine to do it, but not too much, I'd say, because then you kind of get stuck in sometimes wishing it would be like the past. So don't want to do it so much that you go there. Okay. And again, that could sort of also be seen as a present moment awareness, in the sense that you're reliving it. You're actually reliving it, when you do that. So, and of course, because the most important thing is that all of these things are bringing you the feeling state, the wonderful feeling state of the higher dimensions, the love, the peace, the joy, the bliss, the fun, the play, the ease. Now, also, if something bad is happening and you're in the present moment, no, we don't mean to go deep into your frustration or upset or start, throwing things around or whatever. That's not what it means. But if you're in the present moment in terms of sort of being able to observe things and look and see, what shall I do in this kind of situation that we have here? That's the kind of present moment awareness that can be brought to when you do now and then have a situation that's difficult. So, alrighty then, friends. I'm not going to go on too much more, because I don't want to go on forever here on this topic. But anyway, I hope you got a little something out of that. And so I'm going to go ahead and send you that beautiful fifth dimensional energy. The love, the peace, the joy, the bliss, the fun, the play, the ease. It's all coming at you now. Here it comes. Namaste. I honor the God in you.